Hey everyone, today I'm going to dive into the Amazon algorithm. This is all speculative. I am not an Amazon guru or seeing the back end code or anything else like this, but this will give you a good insight of how the Amazon algorithm works in the back end after launching thousands of ranking campaigns for particular keywords for particular products and seeing what works, what doesn't tend to work, and what I see on best practices on how the Amazon algorithm currently works to the date. So let's dive right in. So this is our master Amazon sheet that we have here with all the latest tools and things to make decisions off of. Today we're going to dive into the Amazon algorithm. So this is kind of how I see how it works. So the first thing that Amazon really cares about is profit. Okay? How can you get the most profit the fastest for them? Meaning that, as you probably know, Seller Central is where the seller takes 15% margin, where you give Amazon 15% margin. Vendor Central, depending on how you negotiate your contracts, is usually around 40% margin. I've seen a huge variety of things, but it's usually about 40% margin that Amazon takes. So, meaning that if Amazon had the same price, let's say $100 product, and they were going to make more profit on a vendor central product where they get 40% margin, they're most likely going to show that product in replacement of that 15% margin product. So, at the end of the day, they only care about how much profit is going to come that way. That is, if the conversion rate is the same. So, they all Amazon cares about at the end of the day, how much profit can you get them the fastest? That is how the Amazon algorithm is currently set up. So, if you have a product, let's just call this product one, for example. Product one currently has a 15% margin, okay? Let's say that's the margin, and then the conversion rate on that is, let's say, 25%, okay? And you were competing with another product that also has a 15% margin and has a 30% conversion rate. So if Amazon's algorithm were to look at this, it's going to say, hey, I'm going to send this to product two. It makes more sense to send this to product two, so that way I get a 30% conversion rate, and that way I'm more likely to get more money the fastest. So it really just looks at, okay, I'm going to make more money with this conversion rate rather than the other one. So it takes a look at basically how much profit are you going to bring them. That, at the end of the day, that's really all they care about. And this is if your price is the same, of course. So if this was a $100 product, it would be if both were $100, then that would be the margin would be exactly the same. But that's what they care about at the end of the day. So the second thing they care about is sales velocity. How many sales can you get them the fastest? This is a very, very important. 2 years ago, this wasn't as big as a deal. Sales velocity is huge now. It's one of the most important metrics you can bring to them. So you can easily track sales velocity through the inventory sourcing dashboard. Very easy to do. But today, we're not going to dive too much into that. It's important to know high level sales velocity is very important. Meaning, once you go out of stock, it is very difficult to up to that sales velocity. It's a very accelerative move, meaning that once you go out of stock, you make zero sales, then going back up to the same spot you were is very difficult. So you have to restart in an instance because sales velocity is so important now. They really care of how many sales you can get them the fastest, and you have to ramp up to that sales velocity. So when you are spending money on advertising, keep that in mind that you want to keep your sales velocity going as much as humanly possible, or you will go down in the rankings. So keep that in mind when you start investing into Amazon ads, because you want to keep that sales velocity as high as possible to get as many sales as possible, because it will increase your organic rank and your sponsored rank. Third thing is inventory levels. Amazon actually analyzes your inventory levels, meaning that it will track, okay, like it'll say, okay, you don't have any inbound shipments, and it will see, oh, you only have 100 units left, and you usually go through 50 a day. I'm going to start slowing down your sales so that way you essentially don't go out of stock faster, and it might push another product up quicker that has more inventory than you, because it basically is preparing, the algorithm is preparing to go out of stock essentially. So if it sees that you have low stock coming, it doesn't want to send all this traffic to when the person might do duplicate purchases or things like that. So once it starts getting low on stock, it starts deprioritizing your listing. So just keep that in mind. I don't have this crazy sheet of data to back that up, but it's kind of just using the philosophy of, hey, the Amazon algorithm doesn't want to utilize, it wants to make sure that you have enough stock in the first place. And then the fourth thing is shipping time. So shipping time is a very important aspect. People don't. It's less about the Amazon algorithm utilizing this. It's more of a conversion rate killer, meaning that people going to your Amazon listing saying, "Oh my gosh, it's gonna take a month for this to ship. I'm not gonna wait that long." Then they leave the listing and it kills your conversion rate. So it's it's less about an algorithmic move. It's more about a conversion rate killer, and that's why conversion rate is a huge factor, because it's less about the Amazon algorithm actually looking at this. Is more of a conversion rate killer, which will obviously drop down your listing. And then also having that Prime badge. Usually Amazon's metrics say when people have a Prime badge, you see a 50% increase in sales. So that's their metric that they give you. So having an FBA, being FBA fulfilled by Amazon, where Amazon's fulfilling your stuff, you'll see a dramatic increase in sales, at least more than a 50%. And usually we see more than that, to be honest. So being FBA is very important. But if you were wanting to scale sales velocity and conversion rate, things like that, that will give you more things as well. So just keep that in mind. And also some things to note on that. After COVID, we noticed that FBM listings fulfilled by merchant, meaning you're shipping the listing itself, not Amazon, is actually sometimes getting prioritized more than FBA. Before COVID, this was never even a concept. Like, FBA was always going to win the buy box. Because Amazon always wants the control, they want the FBA fees, they had the fulfillment. But after COVID, we saw, oh my gosh, the fulfillment centers got so crazy that they said, hey, we need to stop the orders in FBA. Let's make it where the third-party sellers or the third-party shipment places, the 3PLs, let's push them to sell. Let the FBM listings take priority. And that's when we start seeing the Amazon algorithm prioritize these FBM listings over FBA, meaning that they're not getting the Prime badge anymore, that these non-Prime badge listings are winning the buy box, but not the Prime badge. Like, if you have the Prime badge, it's actually worse if you have that during COVID. So that's fascinating, because they say this 50% increase with the Prime badge, but if the fulfillment centers start getting packed, then your Prime badge isn't as valuable anymore. They will actually push that lower. Keep that in mind. And as we approach, like right now, it's almost Prime Day, and then we have future other. Keep that in mind that once the fulfillment centers get packed, it's in the algorithm saying, hey, once the fulfillment centers get packed, we need to start prioritizing FBM listings. So keep that in mind that you can have an FBA listing and an FBM listing on the same ASIN, the same Amazon product. Now they're different SKUs, but you can have them on the same product. So I always recommend clients to have some type of backup product on the FBM. So that should help you, Amazon, algorithmically to always make sure you prioritize FBA and prioritize FBM, so you always win no matter what. And we recommend best practice anyway, because Amazon might shut down your FBA listing, but keep your FBM listing up. In case there's an inventory issue of some kind, most of the time Amazon will only shut down your FBA listing, and so you as a backup, you always have your FBM always running in the background. So just keep that in mind. Very good best practice. On the back end, I don't have any recommendations on like different 3PL shipping places that you can use for FBM. They all kind of suck, to be honest. I've never had a client say, oh my gosh, I love my 3PL. So just keep that in mind. So hopefully that makes sense. This is what I'm seeing on the back end for all the ranking campaigns that I have set up. Let me know if you have a different perspective on this. This is more speculative. on the ranking campaigns that I have run and best practices that I have seen so far. So this is by far not like I don't have all this data to prove it or anything else. It's mainly speculative, but it's to help give you a high level understanding of how the Amazon algorithm works in my perspective. Hopefully this provided a ton of value for you. Let me know if it doesn't. Thanks.